Hi, my name is Delana Scoffrey, CEO of Prolific Media. Thank you guys again for taking the time to come and check out my blog spot. I actually wanted to touch on real quick a very important topic. It's called responsibility. Responsibility to me is the only thing in which this life that anyone will ever really truly own. It's the responsibility though that we choose not to own that usually puts us in a position to where we fall short or we may not measure up to where we'd like to be in our life. When I look back at my own life, see, I could say that I had fallen victim to the economy like a lot of people. I was laid off from my job, and I was part of a lot of cutbacks at my job. So I could say, you know what, it was the economy that put me in this position. Because, see, I'd done collections, so I knew that there were a lot of people out there that blamed Obama, or they blamed the economy, or they blamed their boss, or they blamed their neighbor, they blamed their spouse, they blamed their brother. They blamed somebody else but themselves. Instead of taking responsibility and saying maybe there were some decisions, maybe there were some choices that I could have made differently that would have altered the actual outcome of the situation. They could have been the deciding factor, the determining factor in how my life turned out. There was that pinnacle moment. Now sometimes it may not even be a decision on a grand scale. Maybe you just need to take responsibility for some choices that you made that are on a smaller scale. Maybe it was just a few small choices that put you in the position to fall short or to fall victim for your job. It wasn't until I made that decision. I said, instead of blaming someone other than myself or something other than myself, not a natural disaster, not anybody but me, I was the reason why I got laid off. Maybe I should take a look at some of the choices and the behaviors. Maybe I could have done some things different. When I took responsibility for my actions, it's almost like a liberation that you undergo. You free yourself from that bondage, from that blame and guilt bondage that sometimes we put ourselves in. And I don't want to go overboard when talking about it, but at the end of the day, one thing you got to understand is this, and I will quote one of my favorite mentors, Mr. Jim Rohn. He says, the same wind blows on us all. So how is it that one event can happen? How is it that one wind can blow, and some people will just take off, and some people will kind of just cruise along, and some people will go absolutely nowhere? Why is it? Because some people take responsibility for the part that they play in everything, and they set a different set. That's what Jim Rohn says. It's not the blowing of the wind, it's the set of a sail. That's it. That's how. That's what determines where we land, not in just 1 year or 3 years or 5 years. That determines where we'll land at any point in our life. If you take responsibility for where you are today, you say, I am the reason why my life is here. Now, it doesn't matter. It's not to say that you don't have to like your life. People always say, well, I like my life. I'm okay with my life. Fantastic. So ask yourself this. In 5 years, do you just want what you have now? Do you want maybe more of what you have now? Or would you like things to be different? Because if you are the author, if you are the sculptor, if you are the painter, if you are the master craftsman for what is your life, then why not craft out something that could be great? And you get an opportunity to decide that. But you have to take responsibility for that. If you don't say, I am the greatest determining factor, not my circumstances, not my environment, not anything but myself, I am the greatest determining factor in how my life turns out, I can promise you your life will be different. But it all starts with taking responsibility. So grab a pen, grab a paper, and start today. List 10 areas of your life that you need to take responsibility for, and how can you change it? Maybe 10 might be a little bit extreme, but if you can get 10 things on paper that you can change, and you can commit to taking responsibility and enacting that very change that you discussed for 3 weeks, well, what you've done is you just created a new habit. So now you have 10 areas in your life that you've taken responsibility for, you've taken ownership, you said, my work ethic is the reason why I may get passed over for this promotion. Or maybe it's my inability to be more networking in social settings that prevents me from getting my business off the ground where I want it to. Or maybe it's the fact that I don't have the willpower that I need to quit smoking that keeps me smoking. Whatever that decision is, whatever that choice is, take responsibility, put together a plan of action of how you can change it for 3 weeks, and watch what happens. But again, it all starts with responsibility.